avoid racial shadowboxing. That's what it says on page 137 under the Area 4 labor. What does that mean? It means when victims of racism, with meaning non-white people, people who are classified as non-white, are directly or indirectly assigned, bribed, coerced, or otherwise influenced by the white supremacists to speak and or act to do harm to other victims, such speech or action can be described as racial shadowboxing, meaning, for instance, a person who is shadowboxing is boxing his own shadow. Now, I'll go over that again. When victims of racism are directly or indirectly assigned, bribed, coerced, or otherwise influenced by the white supremacists to speak and or act to do harm to other victims, such speech or action can be described as racial shadowboxing. White supremacists often hide behind others whom they use as shadows of themselves. In other words, the white supremacist gets one black person, for instance, to do some unjust harm to another black person, but it's the white supremacist who is the person who is behind that harm being done. And that's a standard in the system of white supremacy. That's what racial shadowboxing is. A white person comes to me and says, I want you to go down there in the warehouse today and mistreat everybody that looks like you. Well, that's what I want you to do. That's your assignment for the day. Now, they won't say it in those words, but you know that what you are being told to tell the rest of them to do is a form of mistreatment. And so you try to avoid being caught in that situation. And when you are caught in that situation, you begin to ask questions. Like I always say on this program, all problems are solved through the process of questions and answers. So the questions you're going to ask is, naturally, that goes to another section of the book, but this applies to anything and anybody, anywhere on the planet, 24 hours a day, and these 4 questions. If you're going to ask 4 basic questions about anything going on, what do you want me to do? That's what you ask your foreman or your supervisor or whomever. What do you want me to do? And so I want you to go down there and tell these fellows, to do this and do that and do the other. Okay? And so if you're talking about the details of it, you say, well, sir, can I ask you why do you want this done? And then you want to know how do you plan to get it done? And then the last question is, the 4th question, what do you expect the constructive result to be? Mm-hmm. Because the result has got to be constructive, which means what? That nobody can be mistreated either. Otherwise, it's not considered constructive. Any activity that anybody is doing right this minute, anywhere on the planet, that is not constructive, and you're forcing somebody to do it, either directly or indirectly, that is a form of injustice right there. And there are all kinds of injustices being done as we speak right now, everywhere, because the world is dominated by a system of injustice.